Watch this video if you want to learn more about Valentine's Day and why is it that we actually give gifts on Valentine's. My name is Dana and I own a platform called Better Topics, where we regularly help hundreds of couples experience more love, joy and connection and also have a lot of fun. Valentine's Day is probably one of my favorite holidays in the year. I mean, I love this holiday. Almost as much as Christmas, maybe even more. However, because it is mainly addressed to couples and people who are in love, it might not be as widely spread as Christmas. And although most of the population of the earth celebrates it in a way or another, it is still not a national holiday in any country really, although I would vote for it to be. There are so many legends out there about Valentine's and Valentine's Day and its relations to couples and love and Cupid and hearts and flowers and love and doves and a lot of things. But similarly with many other holidays, there is a lot of legend behind it and a lot less real facts around it. I've done some digging and I found out that Valentine's, or more specifically St Valentine's, was a Christian priest in ancient Rome that used to help Christian soldiers get married when their emperor at that time forbid it. Again, a part of this is more of a legend and only a part is documented. Considering the times then, I'm not even surprised. I mean, obviously in those times people didn't have a phone to snap shots at everything that was going on or to do lives about everything that was going on in those times. So the information that is quite accurate and believable, it's very, very scarce. Apparently, St. Valentine's was consecrated as a saint on the 14th of February because that was the day when he died. Now, if you don't know this thing about Christian religion, is that most saints are consecrated saints after they die based on the acts that they've done during their lifetime. But the day that is allocated to them is the day when they supposedly died, if they actually know the exact date. Because in the church's opinion, that is when they actually became a saint, when they actually died and went to heaven. Hence, many celebrations in the Christian religion are related to the actual dates when those people passed on, basically. Hence this as well, although it might sound a bit morbid that we celebrate the day he died, it is a celebration still because it is believed that is when he actually became a real saint and he can still perform miracles for people although he's not physically among us. And according to my, to be honest, a bit brief research, it is said that St. Valentine's was indeed a Christian priest and he was doing Christian type masses around Rome in a time when Rome was mostly polytheistic, meaning most real Roman citizens were believing in many gods rather than just one. I mean, these were the times when Christianity was just coming out and people were just starting to find out about it. Again, because in those times obviously they didn't have the technology we have today, news traveled a bit slower than they do now. But how did this saint become associated with Valentine's Day and love and couples and romance that we know of today? Now, the reason for this might surprise you, and it certainly surprised me because it doesn't have to do anything with romantic love, but because it was spring and the notion of courting and courtship was started to be more and more obvious, and that was associated with lovebirds, and then birds were starting to come back in spring. Basically all this put together, and a few hundred years later St. Valentine's Day became what it is today, basically. Also, another fun fact that I found out is that the actual giving of gifts on Valentine's Day was started in 18th century England. Who would have thought? I'm in the perfect place. And the first gifts, they were obviously flowers, some confectionery and cards as well, expressing their love, which are even now known as Valentines. As with many other things, once a nation starts something, others tend to follow, and now Valentine's Day is spread basically everywhere in the world. However, there are certain nations and nationalities that actually celebrate a day of love, but in other times of the year. Mostly though, it is in spring, which might seem quite interesting, but mainly it is because spring, it is associated with fertility and starting of new things and the nature coming back to life and plants growing, trees growing, and most animals making babies. Obviously, this doesn't need to be dependent on spring, but this is how things used to be ages ago. And since then, people just, went with it basically. But in most nations, the notion of spring is somewhat related to love and union and all nice things. Basically, after a grim, cold winter, there comes spring, hope to life, and a lot of good feelings, I guess. Also, another thing that I found in my research, which is mostly a legend because again, they couldn't really prove it and there wasn't any written evidence about it, is the fact that when St Valentine used to perform marriage for these Christian soldiers, he used to cut out heart shapes out of parchment paper, because obviously they didn't have normal paper then, and give it to soldiers to remind them of their vows towards their wives whilst they were away in battle. Pretty much the way wedding rings work now. So I would guess quite a similar, intent, let's say. And many people believe that that is another reason why Valentine's name and St. Valentine's name is associated with hearts and love and everything nice. One more interesting thing about him before I move on is the fact that apparently he had an amethyst ring, which was mostly worn by priests in those times, but on his ring there was Cupid's face carved on. And this is how most Christian soldiers would recognize him, so they would know to go and ask him to perform marriage for them. Hence the association of St. Valentine's Day and Cupid and Cupid's bow. Again, I'm not sure to what degree these are only legends, fictions, or they are actually real, because I haven't done in-depth research. Also, it happened so many years ago. At the end of the day, we still have a very beautiful holiday where we can get to express our love even more so than the rest of the year. Now, although I really like Valentine's Day, that doesn't mean that that is the only time in the year when I show my partner how much I love him, or that he shows me how much he loves me. And I don't think that should be the only time in the year where couples just, show a lot of love to each other. But Valentine's Day is a good urge for those who are maybe a bit shy, or maybe they've been caught up with a lot of stuff and they literally just didn't pay too much attention to the relationship. It is a good time in the year to remind us of being kinder to our partner, of reminding us of our love towards partner, and for us to remind our partner that we really love them, care about them, and really want them in our life. Although I do a lot of small things every day to show my partner I love him, and he does as well, Valentine's is an occasion to, take it up a notch. And it's different than Christmas, because everyone celebrates Christmas, and yes, Christmas is nice, but again, it's a different type of celebration. This is mainly focused on love. Hence, there are so many people that unfortunately don't get to celebrate it. Or so many that are sad on this day. I mean, I know for years I've been single before I met my current husband, and I did feel somewhat left out, let's say, because I didn't have who to celebrate it with. Nobody sent me a card or flowers or a teddy bear or chocolates or, that Valentine stuff. However, my brother did used to get me a teddy bear when he used to get one for his girlfriend, just so I don't feel too left out. Now that I've explained where Valentine's Day comes from and why it is called that, let me go to the second part, which is the most important one, and that is the gift giving. Now, let me explain something from the very start. When I say gift giving, that doesn't mean you definitely have to give something. You can also do something for your partner. And the size of the gift, it doesn't really matter. What matters is to think of your partner and to think of something they would actually like. So basically, a gift is either an object, something, or a service, or something that you do for another person that you do not expect anything in return for. This is the main part that many people forget about gifts. When you give something as a gift, You gave it away to that person and that's it. You should not expect anything in return. If you get something, that's perfect. If you don't get something, that's completely fine as well, because a gift is something given normally out of your goodness of your heart or love, and you're not expecting anything in return. Therefore, I think this is an important thing to keep in mind whenever we make any gifts. I've heard so many people complaining that they gifted this to their partner, they gifted that, and they didn't receive anything in return. Again, the point of a gift is to give something to your partner for any occasion really, and not expect anything in return. The moment you expect something in return of that, it's not a real gift anymore. It's just a trade of stuff or services. Now let's talk about the size of the gift that you can give for Valentine's. In 18th century England, apparently they used to give gifts as flowers, confectionery, and some cards as well. Now, I personally think any gift for Valentine's is okay. If for Christmas you're trying to make it big and because it's Christmas, it's once a year and all of that, good for you. But for Valentine's, what matters is the love. I understand some people might feel loved only if they get the biggest or most expensive gift there is. But again, there are people who have gift giving as love language. Now, if you don't know what love languages are, there are 5 different types of love languages that all of us really have, but in different degrees. And some people just feel more loved if you give them gifts. Other people feel more loved if you just spend time with them. And there are people who feel loved if you just touch them or tell them how much you love them, how much you appreciate them. So there are different types of people, and in order to be able to give a good gift that it will be well received, you have to first know the person who you're giving it to. And because we're talking about Valentine's and about our loved ones, it is assumed that we kind of know what they like. If you are not very sure, then try to be a bit clever and fish around for some gift ideas that you think they might like. Therefore, before preparing a very lovely gift for this Valentine's Day for your partner, just pay attention to things that they like and try to have an idea of how big of a gift they would like, or whether they would just want you to do something for them instead of actually giving them a gift in object as such. Also, it depends on what type of person they are. Maybe they like things that are very useful, either around the house or for themselves, or maybe they just like display things as well. It depends. Now, although in olden times, gifts were more about catching the eye of your loved one and just letting them know that they are a bit more special for you than they are for other people, and that you have some feelings towards them. Nowadays, this Valentine's gift, I think, got out of control. I mean, yes, it's a good idea to get gifts. I don't mind gifts, but let's not forget the point of it, and let's not forget why we are celebrating Valentine's Day. It is more about the union, the relationship, the love between those two people, rather than flaunting all the things that we get for Valentine's and comparing ourselves with other people that they got maybe, I don't know, a house and I got only some flowers, or that I got like a car and they got some, I don't know, chocolates maybe. It's not about that. Gift giving for Valentine's should be something specific for the couple and to show each other how much they love each other, rather than to have to show to everyone else in the world how much they love each other. Now, this concludes my first episode of our Valentine's series, and stay tuned because I'm going to make a lot of them this year. Like, a lot of them. I love Valentine's. Whether I get something or not, whether I just get some flowers, I'm still very happy because I get to celebrate another Valentine's together with my husband. Again, before I go, I just want to remind you that Valentine's is about love, union between two people, showing each other how much we love each other rather than flaunting it in front of other people.